Welcome to our anniversary, if you like. It's Shipp's Tips episode 30. Getting very close to how old I am, actually, so it's catching me up. But I've brought you today to one of the most probably famous sort of reservoirs in the country, Boddington's. I come here recently. I fished a feeder masters qualifier. It was tough fishing, but I'm not kidding. If you've never done this or you do it, there is something about sitting there on a feeder or on a bomb or whatever you fancy, seeing the rod go round and catching a great big carp. And there's carp, there's lots of carp in here, 10 pound upwards. If you catch one probably under 10 pound, you're unlucky. So I brought you here today. It's been super hot, and today it's been overcast and it looks like it's going to be a great day. I mean, you never know what's going to happen on these sort of venues, but the little things that I've picked up, speaking to people, it puts you in a nicer place, I think, to get a few bites. Some days you can have a red letter day on these venues. Some days it can be a bit harder. But let's hope, fingers crossed, doing what I'm going to be doing today with a big feeder, loading it up with pellets, hook baits, you know, the sprays and the bit of bait boost you put in, I think it makes a big difference. So I'm going to run you through all that in a minute. So, you know, preparing the pellets is really important to get around your feeder. The water level is really low at the moment because obviously it is a reservoir and it goes up and down. And I'm hoping, I've not seen any fish top, but I'm hoping that the fish are going to play ball. But the first thing we're going to do, because getting your pellets right is going to take a little bit of time, and obviously you want them to soak the water in. So loading the feeder with the mould, you get it absolutely perfect. Anyway, let's get down. I've got me box nut down there. The next thing is, let's do all the bait prep. Okay, right, I've got all my bait up here now. I've got my buckets. Now I'm going to go through all the things that I done in the feeder masters. Actually come fourth in the match, and it was really tough, but I felt like the things that I'd done made a difference and got me them extra few bites. So let's go through exactly what I've brought with me. So in these little boxes or bowls, I've got all the bits that I've brought for today's session. I've actually brought a bit of ground bait, but I'm not mixing that up. And in there, I've got some hard pellets. I will set up a feeder rod, because if things ain't happening, I might bosh it out there and try and get some response, but not at the moment. That's going to be to one side. I've got my other little tub in here. Have to excuse the old car going past. Now, this is sort of going to be sort of my main ingredients, if you like. So, good old krill and squid 2 mils. You can't beat these stickies. They are absolutely brilliant. I actually bought 2 bags, but I'm going to use, I've got about half a bag in there. So I'm going to put them on the sieve, if you like. Brilliant. They are absolutely mega. 2 mil fins are my go-to pellets for method feeder fish, as well as pole fishing, because you can soak these up and you can get them so right to go around the method. I'm not going to mess about. I'm going to put the whole bag in there. Obviously they'll mix together. Then obviously I've got some more 2 mils. I've got my bait booster in there. I've got all my little bits, my sprays, my liquid flavourings. I think all these things on these sort of waters, I've always said it, in my mind it makes a difference, and if it makes a difference you're going to catch more fish. So let's get some water in there. Got a bit bigger tub, but no, I'm not gonna soak these for long. Like I've done always said with my method feeder fishing, right? I'm going to sort of count sort of around about 2 minutes, especially in the summer, because what you want, if you do them too much, they're too soft. It's not going to make too much difference today because it's really shallow, but I think you can do a lot more with it when you don't soak the pellet for too long. You don't want them too soft. You can adjust that down on your side tray as you're fishing by just putting a little bit more water on as we go along. If you mix them, if you soak them for too long at the start, you lose that chance of probably messing around with your bait. So let's put that water back in there. So I've got it in the sieve, obviously. You can see the odd little red pellet in there. That's what I love about those krill and squids. You've got a nice smell, bit of colour. You can see the water there. It goes like it actually turns it a bit sort of reddy colour. So I reckon we've been close to leave that for another 15 seconds. Like I said, I've got all my bits in there. I'll take all this down on my side tray, and I'm going to add the bait booster, the liquid flavour in, because I think if you add that like stuff, or that like the booster, if you like, is going to get your bait, I prefer to like put it in as I'm going. I think it just makes a bigger effect. So let's get that out of there. You don't have to drain all the water off. Don't rush this sort of thing, just get it right. Like I said, 2 minutes. It doesn't have to be bang on 2 minutes, somewhere near it. Just don't get leaving it for 5 minutes or anything like that, because I just think you'll get the effect at the start of binding on the feeder, but as the day goes on, you lose that effect. So let's stick them in there. There you go. You see how that colour in there is quite, that obviously, that's the little red flecks of pellets that come out in there. Give them a muss around so they're all like that. That is exactly what I used on the feeder mashers when I come, and I thought it was brilliant. So they're done. I can put them in the EVA bowl. They're done. And I'm going to take my bucket down. So I've got some Banoffee's my favourite. Banoffee liquid flavouring, and also my little Banoffee spray. I've even got some Absolute fish oil. That I'll probably mix in as we go. That will make a big slick on the water. And if I think that's maybe dragging some fish in your peg, if they're swimming around shallow, it might just help. And there you go. So I'm going to leave that stuff up here. Get me pellets down. Get me tub down there. And we're sort of 90% ready to go, apart from having a little plumb around, seeing what's what, and start fishing. I can't wait. There's nothing better. As I said at the intro, I just think coming to a big resi like this, getting a few big carp, it takes some beating. I've got all my up baits down there. Let's get down there and get going. First bite. I can't believe how cold it is actually. I've had to nick Jake's hoodie because I come with no clothes today because it's been really hot over probably the last week really. And then today, typical English weather, it's changed massively. The wind's cold, but I've had my first bite. It's taken a while, to be fair. I've had to chuck around a little bit and I've gone to my right. Fishing around about 70 metres at the moment. I'm not gone too far out. I know that's a long way anyway. But it's really, even that time I come a while back, you'd think the bites would be really aggressive, probably because you're fishing so far out of mono. That was just literally like, it's like a massive liner. So let's hope we get him in. Now, rig wise, I've got a 45 gram XR method feeder. I've got a 10-pound shock leader, sinking feeder mono, and I've got a 6-pound main line, obviously to help me get the distance. Very shallow, but these carp in here are mint condition and really good fun to catch. So hopefully this will be the first of many, hopefully. So I've got elasticated stem on, and I've got a 12.6 Superior distance, 80 gram. 80 gram from me has always been the best sort of rod. I'm not the best of casters in the world as in distance, and at 80 gram does me pretty proud. And I had this one on a Spicum crewing squid. This is what I call them. I catch loads of fish on them. And I think when you're fishing for these sort of size fish, once you get a bite and you're confident, you just stick with it. A nice big common. It's just something about it. I love it. I love coming out pleasure fishing. Matches can be a bit frustrating, but pleasure fishing, I think, they don't get better. I could travel like 2 hours for this and enjoy every minute. But I've put a little bit of bait booster in me pellets as well. Sprayed the feeder up this time. Oh, come on. Nice fish that. Probably over double figures, I would say. But it's surprisingly cold. I think it's probably done them in a little bit because it's been like red hot. Not a cloud in the sky, and today it's gone overcast. I think the pressure change would have been massive from the last few days. Come on, baby. Yes, get in there. It's not a bad fish, actually. Get in. Go. I've actually got quite a big landing there and it didn't go in then. So you can see the elastic coming out. I've got elastic headed stem, like I said. They're in such good condition in this venue as well. Get in there. Beautiful. You've got to go a bit careful. There's big rocks down the inside on this venue. That is a beauty. Well over double figures, that. Oh, that's a lovely fish. First bite, probably 16 pound, I reckon. Let's get the hook out. Hook wise, I've got a size 10 KKH, barbless obviously. Let me just get that out of the way, because I really don't want that size 10 going in my finger today. So obviously took the back wind off when I hooked it. And even the last match I fished here, they didn't sort of bolt off. I'm going to go really careful. But that, look at that for a fish. Absolutely stunning. Let's see if I can get him out. 16 pound, I reckon. Look at that. Not going to hold him up for long. Absolutely mint. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Let's get him back. Really warm, that fish, though. Even though the air temperature is down. Obviously not going to put them in a keep net today. Yes, first one. So let's run you through the bits and pieces that I've been doing, because I think on a venue like this, it's really, really important. Just let a bit of line out. Hook bait choice, really important. So that colour there, I think that colour and that colour are my two favourites. So I got salty caramel, that sort of off-coloured orange, and that pink, that crowing squid pink, they're brilliant. So I'm going to stick with me crowing squid. It's got a bayonet on there, so it's all nicely hidden. Just put your fingernail so you get your hair exactly right. So it's probably sat about 2 mil off the bottom of the hook. And then if them pellets, because that bait booster's in those pellets, if it was a real hot sunny day as well, that bait booster keeps the pellets just perfect. I don't really need to put any water on, and you can just keep it like that, and it makes your pellets bang on. So what I'm going to do first, you can just actually load that XR feeder by hand like that, cram them on, not too crammed on, because I'm only fishing shallow water, and then that big XL mould, fill him up, hook bait in like that, plenty of pellets on the top, and I'll just use the mould then to get it exactly how I want it, like that. give that a little squeeze, and if you want to, give them a little bit more. You can just like triple load them if you want. So there you go, that's ready to go now. It's perfect shape. I know some of those pellets are going to come off as it is. I didn't have to take my line clip off, so I know I've gone to my right a little bit. I towards some big trees up in the field opposite. Give that a whack. Beautiful. And because it's shallow, I don't need to mess around too much. Literally, I reckon it's up. If I was stood up in the water, I reckon it's up to there. I reckon it's up to like your thigh. I had that bite after 5 minutes. Next thing I do is just check your pellets. To be honest, you don't really need anything. So what I've done, I've probably put like 2 capfuls of bait booster on that mix. And like I said, keep that mix. And if you remember years and years ago when Sonia brought bait booster out, it was incredible that you can put bait booster on your pellets, and all it does is make them stay perfect for the mould and put them around your feeder. It didn't actually affect what happens to your pellets, where putting water on obviously brings them back. But if you can, just stick with bait booster. So what I've done, I've put a little bit of banoffee flavouring on, and they stink of banoffee. And that's what I love about it. And that bite, like I said, that bite was literally like that. It was just like a liner. Probably because you're fishing, quite a distance out with mono. So hopefully, and it's probably taken me 45 minutes, I reckon, to get that first bite. And I've chucked it out a couple of times, fished in the feed, nothing. And I've actually worked round to my right hand side a little bit just to try and find a couple of fish. And that's what you've got to do on a venue like this sometimes. I started it I think I started about 60 metres, nothing. Peeled about 2-3 metres off, nothing. Went out to about 70 metres, and I just felt like there was nothing there. So I've cast over to me right slightly, and I've had that bite. And I've cast in the same area now, but I reckon it might be one of them days where you might have to just like cast around and see what happens. But yeah, nice to get one after 45 minutes, and hopefully that'll be the first of a few. So you've got to think about your fishing. You've got to think about your hook baits, how you load your feeder, and most importantly, I think, is how long you leave it there. I'm casting out about every 10 minutes. I don't think leaving it there, unless you couldn't get a bite at all, I think leaving it there for like half an hour and things like that, I think it's pretty pointless, to be honest. So there you go. First one, £16, I reckon that common was. Brilliant. Let's take a closer look at the actual tackle I've been fishing today, because it's really important. Obviously, fishing at distance, you want to be up for the job. When you're catching big carp at long distance, you've got to have the right gear. So when you come to somewhere like Boddington's, especially when they're out at distance, another day, I might be able to catch them a lot closer. But I've opted for one rod today, which is an 80 gram, 12'6" Superior distance. They are the top of the range rods, and I just think they're superb for this. They make casting a lot easier. So look for a good rod. It's going to do the job that you want it to do. 620 size reel. Again, it's going to hold loads of line, because when you're fishing 60, 80, 90, maybe even 100 meters, if you can fish that far, you need a lot of line on your spool. I've got £6 main line, £6 sinking feeder mono, and I've opted for a £10 shock leader. Now the shock leader is literally, I would say, 2.5 times the length of the rod. So whilst I got me swivel in my hand, there's probably around 6 turns, 8 turns on the spool, which is important, because obviously, you don't want anything to go bang when you're casting out. Now, all I've got on there is a snap swivel tied in a loop. That's how I do it, like that. It's bomb proof. That's the way I do it. There's nothing that's going to go wrong. As far as I'm concerned, that little setup there in a loop with that knot there, double figure of 8 knot, it is bomb proof, and that's what you've got to have when you're doing this style of fishing. I've got an XR 45 gram large. Obviously, if you wanted to go extreme distances and you're not the best caster, you might even have to drop that down to a medium, because a medium doesn't carry as much weight and it's more aerodynamic, so you can make that fly miles. But I've tried to stick with the large today to try and get some bait out there, and obviously a big carp will come in and suck all them pellets up, no problem at all. Elasticated stem, I've got some nice 12 elastic in there, absolutely bang on, and I've got a 4-inch hook length of 021 power line, and like I said, a size 10 kkh. So no messing about, you know. I mean, I've not lost a fish today, and all I got is a spike on there, which I'll take that bandem off. So I got a bayonet on there, which I tied at home. We can buy them, you know, you can buy them pre-tied, exactly the same. So there's no messing around with that. And all I would do then, you can obviously make, if you had another feeder set up, it's not, for Boddingtons for me, you know, for how many fish you're catching, it's not absolutely rigid. You've got plenty of time to mould that up. But if you wanted to, you could mould one up ready to go. Obviously, snap swivel that off and put the next feeder back on. So there you go. Nice, easy setup like that. So nice elasticating. I think that's probably why the bites have all been, it's literally like a real nasty liner. So it's been brilliant. I'm going to carry on because I think it's brilliant fun just catching big carp at long range on a feeder rod. Let's turn back round and let's have another go. This cast, I've actually left it out there for 19 minutes out now. I've had 5 carp in total, and I've had one off of that big one, but they've all been like double figures, but that was the biggest one, was the first bite I've had. But I've had 4 off the spot slightly to my right, but I've spent another couple of casts on that, and I thought I'll have one more cast there, leave it there, and I think they've just backed off. So what I'm going to do, I'll take a little bit more line off, a couple of meters, and have another go. So let's do that now. So before I cast back out, I'm going to take 1, 2, 3 of them, which is roughly about 2 meters. I'm not going to measure it or anything. Put the clip back on. Have another cast. So whilst that was out there, I sort of got all my pellets ready. This little ball of pellets here, I've put a tiny bit more bait booster in it, a tiny little bit more water, because it has actually warmed up a little bit. I think that's probably why the fish have gone a bit funny today. I think that it's just not, it's gone from like really like cooler over tonight. Oh, I just seen a fish top there, which is good news. Now that's on the other line that I started on, so like I said, I'm going to put that in there by hand. Just crush them in a little bit with your thumb. So they're you know they're going to be staying in the feeder. And then a few pellets in the mould, hook bait in the middle, make sure your hook's sat nice and how you want it. And like I said at the start of this film, if you soak those pellets for too long, you lose that effect. And we've been fishing for, you know, 2.5 hours now, and I can still get them pellets exactly how I want them. So plenty of pellets on there. Right, let's have another cast. Oh, I don't know whether to have another cast out on that line to my left. I might go to my left actually, because I've seen that fish top. So let's give that a go, I reckon. Even though I'm a bit further out. Right. So I've had a fish top, which is good. That's the first fish I've seen. So that was my original spot, which I caught that first fish on, which is probably a bit shallower from where over to my right. And the bites have all been coming from 5 to 8 minutes. And you'll find that on a lot of waters. The bites I had in the Feeder Masters qualifier a few weeks back. Every single, even though I only had 4 fish, which was good on the day, every bite I think I had, the quickest bite I had was 3 minutes, and the longest bite I had was about 7 to 8 minutes. I did leave them out there a little bit longer because obviously when the fishing is tough, sometimes you've got to leave it there for a long time. But every time it was between 5 and 8 minutes, and it's been very, very similar today. It's crazy, really. But it gives you, using a stopwatch, gives you the, you know, the information you need. I've always say to people, look, it's more about not leaving it there for too long. Obviously, if you cannot get a bite, you might have to sit back, you know, leave it there for 20 minutes. I think even though it's, you know, even though it's been nice fishing today, you know, 5 fish in the first sort of 2 and a bit hours. Bear in mind, I never had a bite for 45 minutes. It's still good. Every bite's been exactly the same. It's literally, it just goes round like that and then sort of stops with the weight of the fish. No screaming bites. Let's tighten that down a little bit now the line's sunk. So let's see what happens, hopefully. It's nice to have a fish topo. Perhaps the fish have gone with the wind a bit today. The wind is off our backs today because there is matches on the rest of the lake. I would like to have gone and sat in that wind, but unfortunately with all those people over there, we're obviously not allowed. And that's what might have happened, you know, with the sun not out as well today. Perhaps, I think if it had been really hot like it has been, I think the fish would just love it up here because it's shallow. And they've been quite happy, where today, with it being a bit colder, and they've probably maybe followed that wind. We all know the fish love the wind, but it's still been good. It's still been, I mean, obviously I'd love to catch 15, 20 carp in a session, but just catching these great big things on here, it's just nice when you get a bite, which is what this film's all about. So I reckon now I'm up to about 80 odd meters. And obviously it's a lot easier to cast when I got the wind off me back. If you had a headwind trying to chuck 80 meters, it'd be a lot more difficult. But let's hope. Maybe I'll have that one cast there, and then I'm going to end up going slightly to me right again, I think, past where I've been fishing for like, well, over an hour. And that's what I do on these sort of waters. I don't, you know, if I get one, I'll go back on that line, maybe have 1 or 2 casts. If nothing happens, take a bit of line off and have another cast past it. And then if that don't work, you can move around a little bit. It doesn't seem the case today where you can just keep chucking it down the same line and it goes round. It's not like that. And it hasn't been like that every time I've been here, actually. It feels like you get a couple, you've got to move around. And you've got to think about it a little bit more. But they're definitely not moving around. There's nothing. That's the only fish I've actually seen top today or move. I think I said if the sun would have been out, it'd have been like high 20s, 30s, which it has been. I reckon it'd be fish like moving around, bow waving around. And then, no, I think that overnight temperature is definitely not helping the situation. It's nicer to sit in it because the last few days have been sweltering. There's a little nudge then. Oh, that's got to be a bite. Yes. Now, 5 minutes, just over. Did you get that bite on camera, Jake? Are you sure? That was a weird little bite, little drop back. But obviously we're fishing elasticated feeders. Now that was roughly where I seen that fish top. So that's number 6 if I get it out. Back wind off. Just puts a smile on your face when you hook a big fish on here. I think for a lot of pleasure anglers, if you come on here with like a decent rod, like 80, 100 gram, because of the distance, you can have a really, really good day. Obviously try and fish with like 10, 12 pound shock leaders, 6 or 8 pound main line so you can get the distance. Nice big XR feeder because they're brilliant at casting. It's going to take a while to get this one in because you're fishing quite a way out. I'm not sure if it's a, ooh, I'm not sure if it's a big one. They've all been like probably 9 to 12 pound, apart from that first one I had, which was, I reckon, estimated about 15, 16. Good fun though, brilliant fishing. Never actually want to go home when you're getting bites on these sort of venues. Doesn't feel that big. I think the pressure sort of done them in a bit with the different air pressure from yesterday and today. You'll find that on some venues where the pressure changes overnight a lot. It can make them a little bit lethargic and just wallow in like that one is. Never common, I think. They've all been commons today. Not had one mirror. See how they're just nodding. And I reckon that is a lot of that is to do with the weather. Is he gonna have a go? No. Oh yes, here he goes. Probably the smallest one of the day, that. No snags here, so. And now I did actually put a different band, spikem on there. Slightly different ping. Whoa! Oh, he's £10. Oh, didn't look that when you get them in. Oh, he's probably like £12 again. Slightly different spikem on there. So that is the washed out version. So slightly different. Just thought I'd try it. Take him off because I think I'm gonna have to call it a day. Unfortunately, I'm gonna stay on. Jake's got to go home. But brilliant. It's brilliant to finish off with a nice big Boddington carp. Like I said, 10 or 12 pound again. I could come here and pleasure fish here. If it was a little bit closer to where I live, I'd be here a lot more. I'm not even going to hold that one up because he's absolutely crazy. But let's get him back. Oh. Get him past those rocks. Lovely. I've enjoyed every minute of that. It's been quite like, well, typical Boddingtons, I think. You know, wind off our back, weather's been not so, I think it's brightened up a little bit, which hopefully the fish will come on. But nice and simple, keep it simple, get your pellets right, use all these bits and pieces like your bait booster, your sprays. When I'm fishing this, it gives me so much confidence that I'm trying to make everything smell. When you're getting the odd bite like I've had today, like we fished for 2.5 hours today and we've had 6, which I think is pretty good going, to be fair. And we're not even in what I would say the sort of time of day when they're probably going to feed. But the sun's starting to break through now, and being in the shallowest part of the lake, I think that will help it. I sat here thinking it was going to be really hot today, but there's been loads and loads of cloud about for some reason. But there you go. Use all the little bits that I've shown you today, like the hook baits, getting your pellets right, using your bait booster, your little sprays and things like that. Everything to make that smell as much as possible, especially when you're fishing for the odd fish, especially in quite coloured water. So there you go. I'm going to carry on because Jake's going to go home. He wants his tea because he said he's hungry. He's not had nothing to eat today. But there you go. I hope you've enjoyed Shipp Tips number 30, and get down to places like Boddington and you'll have an amazing day's fishing on a simple setup with a method feeder.